In this segment, we're going to talk about adding directional lights. And for this, I'm going to use the 2010 Camaro assembly. The first thing I want to do is change my scene to be pitch black. Now, this will give me a great starting point for adding lights to my scene. If we take a look at a preview window of this, it's going to be completely black. There are no lighting effects currently in our scene. Obviously, that updates fairly quickly. Go to View, Lights and Cameras, and we want to add a directional light. A directional light is an interesting case. This is a light that you can change the location of where the light's coming from, but it's always going to be pointing at the origin. So, what we want to do is we want to keep the light when the scene changes, and we can change the longitude. And you'll notice that as we rotate it around, it's highlighting different portions of the car. We can focus on certain areas, such as the front. We can also change the latitude if we want to move it up and down. But you'll notice that we're not changing the distance away from our model. We can manually control this, we can move it around the model, we can move it up and down, but it's really going to be fixed on a certain area of the car. We can make sure that it's on in SolidWorks, which is what we're currently seeing. If we turn this off, then we're not going to have any lighting effects in the modeling environment. It's important to have this on in most cases, especially when you're setting up your own scene, because you have an on screen preview of the changes it's going to make. Obviously, it's not render quality, but you will see the difference in where you're positioned in. We also want to make sure that it's on in Photo V360. And this is where we really want to control things like the brightness, we want to control the shadows. And you'll notice that we don't have a fog option when we're dealing with a directional light. But that's okay. We don't necessarily need it with a directional light. This is going to be something that's going to highlight the origin in the center of our environment. So once we say okay, let's take a look at a preview window and see what adding that single directional light did for us. Currently, we have a completely dark scene and we have a single directional light, and it's highlighting a certain area of the car. This preview window here doesn't necessarily give us the full detail of our scene, but it does give us an idea of what our car looks like in a completely pitch black scene. Obviously, it looks like it's just sort of floating in air. There's no information about where a floor might be in this scene, but we can see what the directional light does and how that can help us highlight certain aspects of our model.